I guess, Lepore, we can get into this conversation about Freddie Andersen and his contract. So, as we all know, he's in the final season of a 5-year deal, making $5 million a year. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. As we all know, also, the Leafs do not have a lot of salary cap space. They have to re-sign Zach Hyman, who's going to get a raise from his $2.25 million contract.
Slight.
And then we have Jason Spezza, who makes $700,000. Lepore, he's playing less than 10 and a half minutes per game, and he has 18 points in 31 games this season.
He's third. But I saw a stat yesterday. He is third on the Leafs behind Matthews and Marner in 5-on-5 points.
He's been incredible. I mean,
incredible.
You could argue that he has provided the most value.
That's not even an argument. That's not even an argument.
Of really any player in the NHL. Like it's been incredible to watch him this season. So
it's funny. Give me a second with Spezza. Think of this one, Bruno. This just made me feel happy for now, but sad for the past. It's like the whole reason of why we brought in, Jason Spezza and Joe Thornton. And Leafs fans are going to want to hear this or be reminded of this, but it's kind of the same reason why we brought in Patrick Marleau. And you think of what we were paying Patrick Marleau and the contract that was given to Patrick Marleau.
Oh, it was a disaster.
And again, Matt, I don't know, like the first couple of years were okay.
Yeah, the first year was good.
Yeah, but just looking at the production you're getting from Spezza at $700,000. What was Marleau making? 5.5?
I think he was making 6.
Was it a full 6? And we had to trade away a first round pick for someone to take him. Like, yeah, no. And like compliments to Spezza all around. Like absolutely crazy. You're so grateful to have Spezza in the lineup.
Oh, it's incredible. So you would think that based on the season he's having right now, he's going to want a little bit of a raise. And I know he's, 36, 37 years old, but he's going to want to jack up that $700K to maybe $1 million, $1.4 million. Who knows, right? And maybe he takes a hometown discount, but I think that's a guy that all Leaf fans would like to see come back next season. So then when you think about this Andersen situation, what's going to happen, Lepore? Because you also brought up a good point saying like, should we be that confident in Jack Campbell? Like this guy has never been a full-time starter in the NHL, and he's had really good moments with the LA Kings. He's been really good as a Toronto Maple Leafs, but he has never proven that he can be a game in and game out number one starter in the league. And then you have Freddie Andersen, who's sitting here having the worst season of his career. He's about to become a UFA. Lepore, what do the Leafs do? Do they trade him before the deadline here? Do they hang on to him? What's your take on that?
That's loaded. Like, I think that has to be determined on what's available by way of trade. And of course, it's easy to say that. But when I say what's available, I say, what are teams willing to do? What do teams have? Because it's pretty tempting to be able to dump Freddie and free up that $5 million. Because then who knows what you can do in that deal or what you can do in another deal, bring in to create depth. I wouldn't want to get rid of Freddie and have no safety net for Campbell. I mean, not in the way of like the playoffs, like have someone come in for Campbell in the playoffs, but even to give Campbell rest. And because let's face it, like we're not going to rely on Hutch.
No, there's no way.
It is tempting. I mean, at the end of the day, and this sounds like horrid, but Andersen being really injured would make the decision a lot easier and cleaner because then you just have to do it. And if a team, whatever team you're making the deal with, they're not getting Andersen to get wins. It's just part of the deal. So what do they care if he's hurt type thing? So, I mean, we don't know if he's hurt. We don't know what teams would be willing to do, but I'll say it, man. Like we've talked about how this year is different, both in the way of like what we think this team is and the runway this team has playing in this division. If there's a taker for Fred and we can get a backup somewhere, like a real backup, I don't see how you can't do it. Like to me, it's pretty black and white. Like to have your goaltending, like Campbell makes what 1.65, and then even going into next year, he has another year left. So even if you're planning, okay, you will give him another year, and then who knows what you'll do with the goaltending situation. But to free up that money, and if it allows you to keep Hyman, I mean, to me, that's a slam dunk either way. Like it's like he's not re-signing. Like, is there a 1% chance Frederik Andersen's back with Toronto next year?
No, honestly, I think it's 0.
Yeah, like the only thing I could think would be the climate's been weird with COVID and the cap not going up. If he signs like a 1-year deal.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I could see that happening if it's a 1 year.
1 year at a discount. Like that's the only thing I could really see. And like I always say, there's all it takes is one stupid team to give him like 3 times whatever, and then he's got to go. So I don't know. I think we're done here, Bruno. Like I think we're done here. Yeah, and in the way of like we've seen enough. Like I can't see it. Like I can't see Frederik Andersen. It's like what you know, and I can't see Frederik Andersen based on the last couple seasons and what we've seen so far, injured or not. Like it doesn't matter. He's not gonna like lead this team on a run. Like I would have said before that Frederik Andersen's in that category of goalies in that middle to middle high group who's good enough to win you a cup. In the way that like kind of what we've touched on, the way that he's not going to cost you games and blow it. Like he's good. And maybe if he does have to steal one game, maybe you get one out of him, because he did have some performances against Boston where he stood on his head and won games we weren't supposed to win. And then things just fell apart for him in the game 7s. But I think we're done here. So, and it's kind of like I almost think we're being told what to do in the way that we're being told Campbell's the starter. And I don't think another team is just going to give us or have available a goalie who we can fully rely on. I mean, if you have a goalie who you can fully rely on, you're probably not in the situation of you're selling at the deadline. And people have brought up names. Like I roll my eyes. Like I heard somebody today bring up like Bernier.
Oh, like, come on.
Yeah, like let's get Bernier. Someone even brought up like Jonathan Quick. I'm like, guys, like do you look at the cap? Like do you like actually like step back and evaluate situations? Like, yeah, we're gonna roll the dice on Jonathan Bernier. Like maybe as a backup next year, maybe, but it's just the whole thing. But where does your confidence lie with? I guess it's twofold with Freddie and with Campbell.
Yeah, so right now I think it's clear as day. You have to just continue rolling with Campbell, and I don't even think it's the fact that he has back-to-back shutouts. Like, let's say he lets in 1 goal yesterday and it ends 2-1. Like, I still think you're rolling with Jack Campbell for the foreseeable future. I mean, this guy basically played 1 game in 2 months and comes back and gets a shutout.
Yeah.
And he's looked really good. And again, I'm not a goaltending expert. Okay. I've never played goalie ever really in my life. Okay. I've played a lot of hockey in my life, but I've never played the goalie position, and I'm not saying that I'm an expert on it, but just watching him in the net, he looks very comfortable. He looks very confident. He looks very athletic.
Yes.
He looks like he's playing the best hockey of his career right now. And I think the Leafs have to roll with him moving forward. And you brought it up. He has 1 year left on his contract after this season at $1.65 million, which is an incredible discount. And I think the Leafs are looking at this situation with this expiring Freddie deal. And, they're looking at Zach Hyman, because guess what? Zach Hyman is getting a nice hefty raise here, everybody. He's making $2.25 million. The Leafs are going to have to pay him. And I think Leafs Nation would love to see this team re-sign Zach Hyman long-term.
It would fucking suck to lose Hyman.
That would be a huge blow.
That's a kick in the nuts. Yeah.
Because we all know how important the big four are. Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander. We all know that. They're the high skill guys on this team. They're the guys who are going to score all the goals and generate all the offense. But Zach Hyman, I mean, he's a part of this core as far as I'm concerned, Lepore. And I remember tweeting about this last year where, everyone is always bringing up trade rumors and who should the Leafs get rid of? Should they trade Nylander? And I sent out this.
Someone brought up trading Nylander?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wonder who brought up trading Nylander other than literally like 99% of the hockey population.
I'm waiting for it at the deadline. They'll be one of the Leafs should trade Nylander at the deadline.
Yeah, I can't. It's coming. There's going to be that the Leafs should look at trading Nylander article.
Yeah, to get that backup goalie we really need.
Oh God, it just drives me nuts. But I included Zach Hyman in that core. I said he should be an untouchable on this team. And you might call me crazy, but this guy has grown on me year after year. And just the way that he's able to seamlessly fit into any spot in this lineup. He can play on the top line with Matthews and Marner. He can play on the second line with Tavares and and Nylander. He can play on the third line like we've seen him do recently. And Sheldon Keefe, I saw a quote on Twitter after the game. He said that he loves having Hyman on the third line because of what it does for the depth of the team. Like, we all know that Hyman could easily play on the top line with Matthews and Marner. But when you have him playing a little bit down the lineup and you're getting energy like that, and there's times, Lepore, where he's out there and he's just generating things himself.
Yeah.
He's driving to the net. He's digging pucks out of the corner. He's just making things happen. He is the heartbeat, one of the main heartbeats of this team. And I don't think any Leafs fan can deny that at this point. So this just kind of leads back to this whole conversation
of Campbell and
Campbell and Freddie Andersen. So we get it. The Leafs are going to have to pay Zach Hyman. So I think there's no way Freddie Andersen comes back next season. Now, can he come back on a 1-year deal at a discount like you said? And I even look at like Tyson Barrie in Edmonton, how everyone thought, including me, I thought he was going to get this big long-term contract. He signs for 1 year at $4 million with Edmonton. And now we're seeing him rebuild his value. He's leading all defensemen in scoring, running that Oilers power play. So maybe Freddie Andersen comes back, Lepore, on a 1-year deal because of the cap situation with COVID and all that. But they got to free up that cap space. And I don't think he's coming back. Now, in terms of this season, do I think they should trade him? That gets a little bit dicey for me because do I trust Jack Campbell? Yeah, I do. I think he's a really quality NHL goalie. Do I think Jack Campbell is going to continue putting up a .965 save percentage? No, there's no way in hell he's going to continue that. And am I confident in Michael Hutchinson as the backup goalie behind Jack Campbell? Hell no. So when you look at all that, I think the Leafs just ride it out with Freddie Andersen this season because I think they realize how good they are and the opportunity at hand, being in the Canadian division, playing a Canadian team in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They will be the favorite to get through to the Final Four. And I think they just want to protect themselves here. And I think they're just going to kind of ride it out. And, if Jack Campbell ends up being the starter from now until the end of the season and into the playoffs, so be it. But it would be nice to have Freddie Andersen as the backup just in case. And Lepore, I don't think he's going to be this bad all season. I mean, who knows? Maybe he does finish the season with a sub 900 save percentage and he ends up having the worst season of his career. But I think even Freddie's play at some point has to get a little bit better here. I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of positive regression. So honestly, man, I think they maybe just ride this out with Freddie and Campbell for the rest of the season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe when he does get, now we're going all over the place, but maybe if he does get that chance again, whether it's in a backup role or, Campbell hitting a cold streak, maybe he's motivated, like something slaps him in the face. Like, who knows? Like, now we're just bringing up hypotheticals and hoping. But again, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fucking blast to see what happens with the Leafs. And there's going to be a lot of takes, going to be a lot of stories, a lot to read. And I'm sure we'll be circling it back for years to come on the decisions the Leafs made with regard to their goaltending situation in 2021.
Oh, yeah. It's about to get really, really spicy, Leaf fans, when it comes to this goaltending situation.